Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 495. Almost there to the end, almost right up there to 500. And today we're going to be drafting this Shen. It's kind of one of these like nostalgic champions for me a little bit. He's been here since the beginning, and he just like never finds like enough barriers to really pull off the full-on barrier deck. And so uh, as we've said, forever and ever and ever about Yasuo, he's just like one stun away from being a real deck and having kind of a real nastiness about him. We never say that about Shen. I think it might just be a function of like the barrier ability as to where you want your spells and your abilities to be able to kill your opponent's units. That's usually a little bit better than defending your own units. And so, reason why a card like Twin Disciplines is so good is because it can, deal damage or it can protect your units. Is to where a card like a Frostbite never kills your opposing unit. It just helps your unit not lose. And so. He's always kind of struggled in that sense, and he's never really been able to have like a full build-around strategy to it. He's always played second fiddle to Fiora and supporting all of the challenger archetypes, which is likely what we'll end up doing here today. But I do want to give our muscled ninja here another day in the spotlight before the expeditions are all gone. And so we can pull him up on the site and talk about him a little bit more. It's an interesting archetype, in my opinion. There's like a couple of things actually going on with it. You typically just think of Shen being in the Shen Fiora deck, and you're just going with OTKs with Fiora. But it does have a couple of other nice little things going for it. What we typically see coming out of this Shen is trying to protect a 4 attack 3 drop. And so the idea with this is we're going to have units like Scales of the Dragon. We're going to have units like Tasty Feyfolk. To a lesser degree, there's River Shaper, right? He's just more of a value unit as opposed to a damage-based unit. But we're going to try and get these units into combats to where they don't die, right? The problem with being a 2 health unit is that you trade with all of the 1 drops in the game. And so we're looking for ways to come down and protect these. And thankfully, the archetype has a couple of ways. This is something that you could do with Shen, right? Shen can attack and give the unit barrier, so it's not going to die in combat. And then you can also do it with Young Witch. And so that will be, kind of the core strategy we're looking for out of Ionia here. Realistically, we're just going to pair this into Demacia and then try to just stack up a bunch of challengers. But we'll see what turns up and how this goes. This does have like a lot of the makings of the OTK build around inside of it. You do find cards like Memory's Cloak and things like Deny to protect your units, and so this would ideally just be protecting a Fiora. But if we're going to look to be drafting around Shen, that's not actually a thing. And then I think one of the real downsides to this archetype is there's no unit that can kind of make up for that. Like, sure, you can use Horns of the Dragon to try and close out the games, but he's certainly not as interesting in that he doesn't have Overwhelm. And so, going all in on Horns of the Dragon is a little bit tough to do. Your opponent can just block him with a 1 drop and negate him for a turn. And so, this deck really needs to find something to help close out the games. And so those would be kind of like the 3 tenets of building Shen, if you will. Take advantage of these 4 attack 3 drops, take advantage of the challengers, and then find something that can come out here and win the game. And so, welcome, my dude, Shen with the horns. We already got a piece of that come and try and win the game thing. And here we'll happily take the Quinn. She has 2 challenger units attached with her. She's a little expensive, sure, but she does generate the Valor. The Fleet Feather Tracker, of course, has Challenger. And then the Green Fang Warden is moderately interesting in that he already has Barrier. And so Shen wants to see allies gain barriers. I'm pretty sure if you just play the unit, that counts. I've been wrong before, but that could be a bit of a side strategy here. And so I'm wanting to kind of check out this Quinn real quick. The unit that I had in my head that I was really going to want today was Petrosite Broadwing, but I don't think that one lives within Scouted Out. But I was kind of hoping that Galio would make an appearance and we could try and do something that way. But trying to do the alphabet song in my head while I talk. I've never been able to. I've never been able to do this. If I ever got pulled over for reckless driving and had to do the alphabet backwards, that would be a fucking joke. No way I'm pulling that off. But here we go. And so. I guess this isn't completely up to date. No, here's Fleet Feather Tracker. I was going to say I wanted to see our challengers. Here's Fleet Feather Tracker. There's, of course, Blinding Assault because we're playing Quinn, and that is the extent of it. But there are still some really high-quality cards in this archetype. Warrior Badger Bear is super strong. Vanguard Sergeant is super strong. Riposte does deliver a barrier for us to try and level up our Shen with. And the Green Fang Warden, like I said, I can't remember if he counts. It might count. It would be cool if it did. And then the Grand Plaza is a nice way to give everything Challenger, should that be the way our deck comes together. And so, is it as like super synergistic as a Fiora? No, but I think we can pull off some interesting and strong combos out of this. Okay, so out of this next one, the Shield Wall Archetype is one that I'm really interested in having turn up. This is the... Did we start with Shield Wall? We should have. There's only one Shen, but... this is the way to help us find the challengers and take advantage of our challenger units. Bright Steel Protector, of course, ultra powerful, and Prismatic Barrier is the premier barrier-based combat trick. Okay, so we look at these. There's no challengers. There's nothing really that we're looking for. I think this is where we just get like stuck with the Windsinger. We're never drafting the Bilgewater cards. Navori Conspirator, I guess I could see an argument for. There's the cards like Bright Steel Protector that we could be replaying. You can maybe get something that way, but I don't think we're ever going to be a deck that like pivots into elusives, and I kind of like the idea of the Windsingers here. We might be able to get some good tempo plays out of it. All right, fairly weak set here as far as Ione is concerned. Definitely don't want the Karma cards to the right. I'm not a huge fan of Trevor Snoozebottom, although seeing him turn up along with Usari, makes it kind of look like we could have got the elusives together. But like the thing with elusives and barriers is like your elusives aren't getting into combats anyways, and so you aren't really generating like a big synergistic deck because you should never be casting Prismatic Barrier. You're just units that just aren't in combat. So we'll see how this goes. But the Green Fang Warden and the Badger Bear are looking pretty good. Coming out of here, Screeching Dragon is what I think we would like to close these games out with. I think this is our premier finisher. Whenever we're talking about Fiora decks, we usually look to Screeching Dragon if something goes wrong with Fiora, and I think it'll be okay here. And so I'll add this in. The Dragon Guard Lieutenant's fairly meh. And my only real kind of worry at this stage is our curve. As I say, I'm worried about our curve. I'm going to come down here and take this Screeching Dragon Captain Erika pack, but we need some more of this Fleet Feather Tracker, Blinding Assault, Bright Steel Protector, War Chefs, just early game stuff so our curve doesn't get super out of hand. Ooh, almost clicked on that middle set. Didn't want that. Okay, good set here. Fairly early play in the Scales of the Dragon. It doesn't look like the 4 attack matters, or the 3-drop 4 power thing is going to come to matter too much, but he's powerful, and then the Concerted Strike is quite good. Definitely got that removal spell in here. All right, coming out of this one, I want to get 1 Golden Aegis. This is just an ultra powerful card. We should be winning a lot of these combats with our barriers. This is just something I'm really looking forward to, and I've kind of had like Confront grow on me. This is one of these cards I used to really, really hate, but now I'm usually pretty okay with 1 copy. So I'll go ahead and add that one in. Out of these, like the Syncopate's the strongest card here, but I don't want the Shadow Shift. I'm just going to go with the Demacian Steel units. Vanguard Lookout is not particularly appealing, but he is a reasonable early game play. Here I'm going to go with the Young Witch and the Horns of the Dragon. We're like good with 3s. We'll probably land on another 3, before it's all said and done. And I'm really interested in just picking up the Young Witch. It can be really challenging to beat a Fleet Feather Tracker into Young Witch or a Quinn Bird into Young Witch if we can manage to pick up that actual spell. Okay, coming into these, interesting. It's like I'm not opposed to picking up the Green Glade Lookout. It should be reasonable in this deck. And I like having 1 copy of Spirit's Refuge. It's kind of eyeballing this Ruined Dragon Guard, but we're not going to be like super stacked. I mean, he's good. He's like 100% better than Loyal Badger Bear, right? He's just like literally better. But I think I want the Lookout here. Just give us a nice early attacker. Coming out of these, the Prismatic Barrier is not that appealing, but Detain is super strong. I'm going to look to add that one in. Egghead Researcher and Succession is exactly what we need. It sucks to pass on the Vanguard Sergeant. He is extremely powerful, but this is like the exact curve filler that we're looking for. Okay. So I don't want to trade this Succession. The Vanguard Lookout just isn't a good card, but like I don't really feel like we need a back-to-back. I'm happy with one copy, but our curve is a bit of a mess, and this doesn't do anything to fix it. But we'll see what we can do here. I don't know, man. We'll see with that one. It's like from a power level standpoint, we're definitely getting a win, but from what our deck needs, we were not. And so, at any rate, you all know what time it is. We do have to go and turn something premium. We are running out of commons. I can't wait for these new cards to come out. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't bring myself to be out here and, like, turning a champion premium, like, every day of the week. They cost, like, that's fucking expensive, right? How much? How much if we want to level up Kennen? It's $6. That's not as bad, but I'm not really looking to spend $40-50 a week on cosmetics, and so we'll see how it goes. But ideally, the new cards will come out, and we can stay away from such expensive things. But the common units are all accounted for. We didn't get any Greenglade Caretakers in this one. Onto the spells. Oh, Memory's Cloak. Okay. Memory's Cloak here to prevent a bit of the damage to the pocketbook. And so there's a field promotion as well. It's kind of an interesting one for Constructed. I might put some field promotion together in Constructed one day, but that's not what we're doing here now. All right, on to battle with our boy Shen. All right, so we talked about like the three things we're looking for, right? We want to find these challengers. We want to find these 4 attack 3-drops, and then we want to find some kind of top end. And we're good on the top end now, right? We found the 2 Challenger Dragons. We found a Captain Erika. We have like 2 Horns of the Dragons we don't want. We have enough stuff up there. Where I feel like we're really hurting is the Challengers. Like, we can do without the 4 attack guys. They aren't that important to have. But the interactivity from the Challengers is incredibly important. And that's where I feel like we're really hurting. Okay, this guy's a Yordle. I didn't realize that, the Greenglade Lookout. I don't think I have real intentions of playing him in Constructed, but it's kind of an interesting thing there. And what are we up against? Riven Misfortune? There's a very real chance that we play this into like a Rune Forger. I would say they like have a unit here like 90% of the time. Rune Weaver, there we go. And so we'll at least get a trade, right? The thing that's a bit of a disaster with the Lookout is if we play it, and then our opponent's like, here's a 2-3, and you just get aced on your attack. But Captain Erika ready to come down a turn earlier. So much premium. Man, this all feels so good out here, though. Like, look at all these. So shiny, looking so good. Oh, man. Great place to be. And here we have to trade. You know, I don't expect them to have more Legion Marauders. It's pretty tough to get big stacks of them, but we can't risk it. We don't have any way to just challenge it down next turn without losing a unit anyways. Guess we did. maybe I got to take that back as we see the Brightsteel Protector make an appearance. But all right, well, we're just gonna have to struggle a bit. And open for 7. Fine. It's too much. I'm leaning towards just like preventing the 5 out of the Trifarium. Because, right, we just need time with a hand like this. God, you would have been so perfect last turn, Egghead Researcher. So perfect. Because, like, now the struggle is we don't have the barrier to put onto the dragon. Okay. Oh, with the Egghead, I feel kind of okay about this. We can block the Trifarian on his next turn with the Egghead Researcher if we want. Or if things are getting kind of out of hand here, we can attack with the Screeching, get a good hook, play the Dragon Guard Lookout for the rally, and take down another unit. I think we're okay. Just like one awkward turn. Okay. Is he gonna play like the list? Are we getting hit with the list right now? Wow. Okay. I mean, that's one way to do it. So at the end of the day, he cycled his Yibin Warned and then spent 2 cards on our 2 cards. I mean, our cards were more expensive than his, but was it horrifically bad? So awkward. So awkward. I'm leaning towards like confronting the 2-1, but I want to wait and see what happens. I'm not opposed to like detaining something if that's what our turn looks like here. Definitely less interested in detaining now that our unit is vulnerable. Alright. here come the plays. This is bad. This is bad. Let's see if I can get that deck tracker up while we're at it. I don't know what the deal with it was in the last trial. I'll definitely remember I've got to restart Runeterra or whatever after this game and try to get it up on the screen. It's like we just got to make it through one turn, and it's not that bad. How do we want to do this? Like, if we play the Badger Bear, we get both a good block and we can still detain. I think this is fine, right? It seems like his idea here is he wants to do like a quick attack challenge with the long tooth onto the Researcher, then we get to block the Legion Drummer. I think this is going to get a combat trick. What I kind of... Oh, it gives it plus 2-0. Okay. And this is okay if he like plays a combat trick onto the Runeweaver and kills our Badger Bear post-detain. The way this is a disaster is if he has like a Whirling Death. I don't know if we can come back out of that. Yep, this is fine. And he is getting built up to the Riven Sword. It's a little scary in terms of we don't have a great way to answer it. You know, it's like this turn I want to play the dragon so we can actually do something with the board. But if he plays like the Riven Sword, he has the opportunity to open next turn. Hoping that we get to just blast whatever unit he puts the sword on with Captain Erika. I got to bring up some sweet internet pictures after this game as well. I've been, what? Oh, here comes the sword? Interesting. Oh, no, it's just for the long tooth. That makes sense. We can barrier into this. I have to imagine he doesn't have, like, a Whirling Death. He would have done that last turn if he had it. He's gonna be like, Isma, make it rain. Fuck. Oh, he just does have the Whirling Death. Wow. Wowzers. That would have been, like, I can't hand read in this game, but that would have been, like, so brutal last turn if he'd played the Whirling Death to take down our unit. Alright, he's going for the Riven Sword now. Oh, interesting. I could be okay with that.
If we are to survive, we must fight.
Interesting. We can start to get a lot going now between the expensive stuff in our hand and the rallies and the big units. He just does nothing? Interesting. Ooh, I feel so much better with the deny. Like, it's not going to stop combat tricks, like if we try to hook in the Legion Drummer, but it definitely comes in and stops the likes of more whirling deaths.
Enemies, take heed.
Let's pick on these 2 attack units. Let our dragon breathe a little bit. And then if we're just going to like Golden Aegis onto the Screeching Dragon to hook the Legion Drummer, we'll prevent an extra point of damage that way. Still just feels like he has a handful of combat tricks. It also feels like one of these games where he would have played it if he had it, but they're just going to be like, LOL, Captain Farron. Love it when that happens. What do you got here? You going to present us with a Nox and Guillotine?
Get bloody.
Hired gun. Okay.
Follow my lead.
Is this too dangerous with the captain? It's only an iron ballista. I think it's okay. Like, if he blocks with a hired gun, plays a combat trick, and takes down Captain Eureka, and then just gets back the ballista, that's fine. We're statted enough to deal with that. All right, but I feel much better now that we're getting into this turn with the deny. Ooh, Windsinger, you're interesting. We could technically recall our own unit if it came down to it, but I don't think that's the thing we'll be doing today. Getting signed up for the big tempo plays. It's like we'd love to see him just play like an armored elephant, right? Just some kind of like 6th cost do nothing kind of dude. Interesting.
Now where are they?
I was expecting to get the rally next turn, but he's not going to do anything. They'll certainly take it.
Enemies, take heed.
So weird.
Fortune favors the bold.
Okay. All right. Well, I like getting on board. It's like if his like answer to what we're doing is a slow spell, then we can just blow it up with the deny. But it's like going to be really tough for him to just go wide here. In case like something goes wrong, I would like to deal with this stuff.
Hope is on the wind.
Cupcake incoming. Cool. That was weird. It felt like we were like super far behind until it got to like turn 12. then we just kind of turned the corner. All right, so yeah, picking up more Shens. He doesn't do anything to fix our problems, right? We're looking for early game plays. We want challengers. Screeching Dragon is an okay pickup, but I do worry about upcoming games like that one we just played. And so I can't see an argument for just picking up this Fiora. This is a pretty good one with the Protege attached. I just have the rule to where we have to have 2 Shens to call it a Shen deck. And so we'll do this. We'll take the Fiora out of this one, and then we'll try to pick up Shen in a future one. But no, I got to do this. And so the things I've been doing here recently, I've been networking the house. I've been worried about my wife killing me and fucking up wallpaper as I cut into the walls, and I did a pretty good job. I fucked that up. I'm gonna have to patch some of that drywall, but this was it, right? I have a fiber connection because we have those in Kansas City. It's fucking sweet when Google moves into town and they're like, "Hey, everybody, we're gonna make these fiber connections," and then all the competition has to be like, "Well, fuck, I guess we have to do it too now." It's amazing what competition will do when it turns up, and we get the benefit of it out here. And so this is the downside, though, right? I made the mistake when the fiber guy came out. He was like, "Oh man, we can just put the fiber jack like up here where the coaxial cables were coming into the house." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." But it's like if you're sitting here thinking, you're like, "Man, where do I want the Wi-Fi in my house? I want it to be like right in the fucking middle." And I just let him put it like right at the farthest edge of the house. And I knew it was a mistake when it was happening, but I was just kind of like in a mood and I didn't feel like dealing with it. And I was gonna wire the house anyways, and so I was like, "Oh, fuck it," and so just do it. But I've been dealing with this. This 300 some meg downstream on Wi-Fi for the better part of a year, and it's like this is where we're at now. We're finally up to the almost 900 megasecond. It feels so good. I did another fuck up in addition to the drywall. I ran the cable way too short, and so I have to have like a bad splice in there. I'm hoping once I get that fixed, it'll be up closer to the 1 gigabit, but. This is very, very nice for me. Go from the 359 to the 892. It feels like a job well done and worth it. Give myself a pat on the back, Bust. You're doing the good work. All right, I got the computer restart, or not the computer. I got the LOR restarted. I got the LOR master tracker restarted. But there it shows up now. I was gonna say if it doesn't show up now, just restart the entire computer. That fixes everything. But here we go against Rumble Misfortune. Or shit, that's Caitlyn. Rumble Caitlyn. Yeah, it was a nice little project. I'd done some networking stuff in high school. That was a good 20 years ago, but that at least got me. It's like you're in high school and you have to pick your career, and it's like, oh, I like computers. Let's do computer stuff. And they did thankfully have some of like the Cisco CCNA networking classes that you could take through the community college while you were in high school. So I did that and learned that networking was not for me. I had no real desire to be doing network cabling or sysadmin type stuff. Okay. Oh, sorry. The the wife called in the middle of the game and I had to pause it. I was trying to get all my bearings back. But no, they had the networking stuff when I was in high school, and it was valuable to take, but it definitely let me know that was a path I didn't want to be pursuing. But some of the stuff sticks. I learned how to fish cables through walls and make the various wires and stuff. It takes a while to get that stuff back in the old brain piece and working, but I had some memories on how to do it. Turned out kind of okay. All right, back to the action here. This is an awkward space for us to be. I was expecting the Badger Bear just to take over the board, and the Perfectionist is kind of awkward, and we don't have the challengers to like actively get this dum-dum away from us. And so this is a bit of a struggle. Wow, he just goes full Rumble with no with no card. Well, he generated one card, so he discarded 2 real cards. I didn't quite notice what he threw away. Poison Dart and Yordle Newbie. Okay. Block. He chooses to not have the impact. Alright. So I think this is a good start. It's just going to trade with the Squire, but I'm fine with that. And now we can start to get some of our 4 attack bros on board. So I can do the same thing, my dude. Got our 4 attacker. Let's give him some barrier. Send it right into the battlefield. Seems like that was a fairly preemptive rumble as the Chumpwump comes on the board. We pop that spell shield? That would be kind of fun. if we can pop the spell shield, then we can just win singing back to hand and make... Well, I guess he doesn't have to discard more cards at that point. Okay, that's not as fun as I thought. So where are we at here? Like, I want to get the Green Glade Lookout going, just to kind of cheapen up our hand a little bit. It's just so slow. Doesn't feel good to return any of his units. Like, if we return the Peddler, he just gets to replay it. This is all fairly awkward. Guess we have some ways to spend mana here. Right? We won't at least, at the end of the day, we'll at least be playing like a Dragon's Protection and maybe a Dragon's Protection plus a barrier, so I think this is fine.
They grow up so fast. Pay debt.
Okay. Curious what that means. He could have played a Flash of Brilliance card if it cost 6 mana. It doesn't seem particularly interested in that. I would assume with him spewing off the the mushrooms, he doesn't intend to attack anymore, but we'll see. And to detain. Okay.
I'll take on anyone.
Units are just so small. I mean, we can return the Caitlyn. That's like what it takes to get the Windsinger on board. It's probably as good as it's going to be, but then we have to really start burning barriers to get this unit doing its thing. It's like I think this is okay.
Like a storm, I bring change.
It's like I just want to be a next turn with both Captain Erika and the Prismatic Barrier. And I'll feel pretty good about that. So we can still like Spirit's Refuge this turn with how the mana has shaped up. It's like, do we want to trade the Spirit's Refuge for the Perfectionist? Probably not. But we'll see. Got to get some of this board cleared out, though. The 4 health units are pretty challenging for us.
Well, what have we here?
Ready for the fight.
Ready for the fight.
Let me introduce you to science.
What you got? I was going to say, he's going to do something not cool. I'm fairly okay with that. We still get his 4-2 off of the board, and then I'm just going to wind sing our wind. I'm going to barrier our wind singer, give it a little protection.
Here's my calling card.
Okay, seems fine. There's finally some interactivity. Not the best of it, but man, we're just hurting for something. Well, I mean, I guess we have interactivity. We have Erika and Detain, but nothing on the cheaper side of things. Oh, something here, something unfavorable is about to happen, but I think I'm okay with this. Let's just start with the barrier. Like he's gonna have like a built over Peacemaker or a group shot or something, right? The Caitlyn attack is too obvious for something to be coming in like that. Mini morph, okay. And then the built over Peacemaker, so he has 2 cards. Now, do we want to come in and detain the Caitlyn? I think so. Oh, that's a physical Caitlyn Peacemaker as well.
Peacemaker protocol.
All right, so let's see what turns up. Maybe we'll draw one of our 100 Challenger Dragons and just take down the Rumble. It feels like we're in a decent space. I mean, we're certainly ahead in cards. Vanguard Redeemer looks to push that fact even a little bit further. So let's just start swinging. You know, see if he takes us up on any of these blocks. Okay. Our buff cap count isn't too scary. I'm just going to go with the Redeemer and see what we draw. Horns of the Dragon, cool. You're a big boy. seems good. Now if he drops like, I don't know, Bandle Gunners, right? Then we're still good with the Captain Erika to take down a big boy. All right.
One heart
On.
can shape the fate of a nation.
We just need to like not die this turn, right? We can shut down the Puffcat Peddler. We can block Rumble with something, anything, whatever, and then we should be able to Horns of the Dragon him down next turn. Still draw cards off of that? That's weird. It gets spell shielded. So that's gonna flip Rumble. So he's gonna start getting Mecha Yordles. Oh, it doesn't count. Rumble has to deal the damage. Okay. It still feels like we're in a pretty good spot. I did the mathematics on the feel good nature of this situation, and it feels pretty good. I think we're all right. Now this is a spot where you definitely want to check the eye first, right? Because he's gonna flip and then take down our. Oh. No, he doesn't. Really? I thought. I mean, it has his Rumble flipped. What am I missing with that? So he should go up to a 6 attack quick attack. Oh, he strikes and that's when the impact happens. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Still good to check. You will run into some of these spaces to where you just get boomed, right? There's no hard easier way to say it than you just get boomed. So what happens here, right? Let's say we hook his Puffcat Peddler onto the Young Witch. He puts the Mecha Force in front of the Horns of the Dragon. We're hitting for 6 plus 9. That's 15. Okay. That works. Can we do it better, though? So we don't have to give up the Young Witch. Say we hook the Puffcat Peddler with a 3-2. He blocks the Horns of the Dragon. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. That sounds a little cleaner.
Follow my lead.
And then we have this deny in hand in case he picked up something particularly nasty. Boom on the lethal. Nice. Good job, Shen deck. These games have been tough, man. I think that's a function of the quality of our deck. But it is worth noting in that game to where you could see there was a space to where he had 3 cards on board, we had 3 cards on board, we had 3 cards in hand, and he had 1 in hand. And it's like that's exactly where he lined up with discarding stuff to the Rumble. And so I'm kind of curious how that would have played out had he just like waited on Rumble and discarded the Mushroom Clouds to him, and then still had the Yordle Newbie, which could have easily been a 4/4, and the 1 damage ping still active in hand. But here, is this the Dragon Guard Lieutenant's like actually in our deck, right? We can trade that out for the Screeching Dragon. That looks pretty good. We don't have enough dragons to make this consistent, and so that was even pretty late in the game, right? That was beyond turn 10. And we still didn't have a dragon in hand. So, happy enough to go ahead and get rid of that. But yeah, man, that's one of the, I don't know, the student loan situation in America, and it sounds like throughout the other portions of the world is a real pain in the dick. Like, I didn't get completely burned by it. I had scholarships most of the way. got too heavy into drinking and lost them in my junior year, and so or after my junior year, so I really just had to pay for my senior year of college, and then graduate school was a different story. I was old enough to know what I was getting myself into with that, but. Yeah, I mean, it's just like as I was talking, and I took those courses in high school on networking, and it's like that's the extent of it for like a large portion of my youth. Like the internet didn't exist. Well, it existed, just people didn't have it. And so it's like, you're in like middle school. That's when you're like 12 to 13 or 14 or so. And you're having to make these like, big decisions as to what you want your future to hold career wise. And it's like, well, I like computer stuff. And that wasn't like an option in fucking West Virginia in those days. And so it was like I was getting signed up for stuff to do like electrician trade work because I had like circuits in it, and that was like the closest stuff that you could come across in terms of education materials. And then it's like once we got into high school, we had like that networking stuff, and it was like if that didn't exist, then I would have just had no idea and probably pursued it. And then even the step beyond that is I was initially going to go to college for electrical engineering, but if you wanted to study electrical engineering, you had to go to a school that wasn't in my hometown. You couldn't go to Marshall. And so I just decided not to do that and got into programming instead. But these are like insane decisions that are being placed on people that are, 16, 17 years old. And that's like, if you weren't in my situation, it's like you've been like programmed your whole life that if you don't go to college, you're a failure. And then here, this is all fine. We're getting fairly invested in this combat. We're going to lose our unit to Caitlyn. That's fine. We'll try to take her down next turn with Fiora. But if you weren't in my situation to where you at least had scholarships, then it was very easy to get saddled up with 100, 150, 200 grand in debt. And I'm one of the lucky ones that didn't quite get hooked in that hard. And hope they have an answer for it. Hope they have a solution. But that's like where it starts to get me to think. It's like, they led me down this path of be an electrician, and then it's like the path goes even further into do this networking stuff and don't like it. It's like I can't imagine how brutal it would be to go through like 3 years of college and be paying for it all, and then being like, well, I don't really like any of this stuff, and so do I want to just sure, this is fine, do I want to just stick with it and get a job and do something else later, just live with this job I hate, or do I want to soak up another 2-3 years of loans and maybe not hate my job but get saddled with another 50, 75, 100 grand of debt? It's fucking absurd. All right, are we willing to get boomed by a combat trick again? I think, well, so he's gonna make this decision a little bit easier for us, apparently. I think this is okay if we, like, we're in a spot that's pretty painful if we have to take all of this damage. I think there's a reasonable chance that we're just gonna get like Whirling Death or something here. Scorched Earth, fine, but it's just way too much damage to be taking, and we have a pretty powerful hand. So let's just not die, right? He's starting to get ground out of cards. We're about to start dropping 5 drops, and he's playing 2 drops. And so I think this is a pretty good space.
Intel looks good. Affirmative. Ready to breach.
Okay. Oh, I guess the scales attack isn't good. Like, where are we going to put the Scales of the Dragon, though? I definitely want to play it this turn. I think I want to put it on the Screeching Dragon. It's just, how many flashbangs do we have? 1? And so we both have to A, hit the flashbang trap, and B, have it land on the Scales of the Dragon. It's gonna happen. Like, I'm looking to just trade the Scales for the Precious Pet, and then now have the Screeching Dragon able to combat the officer squad. But squeeze them cheeks. Alright, we're good. We squeezed him hard enough. Everything turned out alright. He's the one drawing the cards. Sure. And so I think we want to just save the Golden Aegis for next turn. So let's add the Screeching Dragon. The question is, do we want to bank for a deny? Interesting. Well, if he plays a trick to, like, he'll play the trick to not lose the combat, right? He's not going to play a trick to win. So this is fine. Get his big boy off the board. I don't think we need to save in to deny. Alright, let's see what kind of sweet combats we can get here. I'm looking to hit with the Screeching, the Mountain Drake, probably the Scales. Just go ahead and get these dum-dums off the board. And then follow up with the Golden Aegis onto the Fleet Feather Tracker and clean out wherever else we're hurting. You've been doing the Lord's work, Egghead Researcher. I'm glad we got you down. He discards a Brutal Hunter. Interesting. That's kind of lame. I think we're still okay, but that didn't go as well as I would have hoped. Okay, and then we've talked about this situation before as to where we can attack with the Scales of the Dragon and try and get a trade, but I don't think, we can refill our board as fast as he can. So we'll just come in and take the one value hook, leave the Scales back. We do have to risk, running all of these 1 health units into the flashbangs, but he's only got 2 left. It's finally come to fruition. It's finally hit. That's fine, I guess. You can only dodge it for so long.
We Demacians are no easy prey.
Okay, that could be scary. They get that big, expensive. We do have the deny in hand. We might have to be particularly careful with our mana here since we have to face down, just actual anything. He plays a War Mother's Call. We're gonna want to deny that thing. Here's my Feel the Rush. That's probably good enough to get rid of. He's going to get the 6/5 out of it. Like, there's a very realistic chance that we don't have another deny target the rest of the game. So I feel pretty okay about that.
Still heart, steady aim.
And this Quinn's never going to flip, so let's just go ahead and chunk down whatever we can. This looks good. We'll get to draw a card with the Redeemer now. I like it. Okay.
Today we turn the tide of war.
Look, a thing.
Elf, that's not ours.
It's a little sad. Guess we can realistically flip our Quinn now that we picked up the Green Fang Warden, but makes me feel a little naked as we're losing the concerted strike.
We strike.
Alright, I'm just going to hang on to the Lookout. If we're going to look to play the Green Fang Warden next turn. I like having the space on board so that we can, you know, potentially play cards like Screeching Dragon as we draw them. Alright. So we should get a Quinn flip. We have a lot of good attacks. Detain feels good. Oh, interesting. Okay. Not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting him to hit the Green Fang Warden with the stun. Keeps our Quinn from flipping.
They've barricaded the door. Doesn't matter.
We want to stun this. Okay, so let's get these in where we can.
Just like hunting thresher bees.
Okay, and this protects our Quinn.
No one escapes my aim. We're not done yet. Just kill me.
Seems good. Okay. He's gotta buy a little time. He's gonna deck himself? How far away is he? He's gonna have 7 cards after this? Sure. Sure. Alright, well we got all of our big boys at this point, just having a little bit of trouble closing this game out. Ew. Certainly playing some scary stuff. Progress day, not bad. At least he should have trouble playing that stuff this turn. Down to 3 cards left. Maybe we can get him out of here. All right, so I'm going to play the horns. I'm going to open with the Green Fang Warden and the Quinn. I suspect that we'll need to detain whatever he puts in front of Quinn, but it's not a requirement. Wow, it's a lot of dudes. He drew like a bunch of ones and stuff off of that. Oh, back to back. That's choice. Now we don't have to. We don't have to count on the detain to protect Quinn. Beautiful. We can even potentially let the Green Fang Warden die and then back to back our Valor. Ooh, no, she won't survive the officer squad. He has to be built up to the Quinn, the Ribbon Sword now, right? Gotta be real close. What's the stun on Green Fang Warden? Do we care if we just lose Quinn? Do we have good attacks after this? We still do. Okay. We won't interact with this officer squad, right? We can hook the Sting officer. This is the unit I'm worried about most. We can hook it with the Screeching Dragon. This attack is, of course, still safe. I think it's reasonable to attack with the Mountain Drake. He doesn't have great blocks on it. He's probably just going to put a Spiderling in front of it or something. Sure, go for the health chunk, leave it with 3. That's fine as well. Yeah, 2 cards left. So close to decking them. He has to kill us on his next attack, though, right? That's the one thing to keep in mind. He'll draw the card for his turn, then draw one on our turn. As it goes back to his next attack token, he'll be out of cards. That's not to say we won't die to random puff caps or something, but Gonna put the barrier on our formidable unit. I 100% expect us to just be detaining Quinn this turn, or detaining Riven this turn, and so I'm not ultra worried about making sure we have a 4 health unit to put in front of her. I guess it needs to be a 5 health unit, but either way, we're going to be playing this detain on her. Okay. There's the flip. Sure. Could detain her before the sword lands, but that would just prevent the sword from ever hitting, but I think we'll wait till combat.
Conflict awaits.
So the thing that would be a problem here would be a Scorched Earth, right? If he plays some removal spell in response to our detain, that's where the problem lies. So I'm looking to just block Riven with the Mountain Drake. We'll block the Chump Wump with... oh, more stuff? Sure. Let's go below 2 mana. Alright, I think we're safe. Let's go do it this way. Well, I don't want it to be our unit in combat.
No closer.
Should be pretty tough to get out of for 2 mana. Alright, he's gonna draw his last card on our turn. We just gotta make it. Just gotta make it through the day. Alright, was not expecting to get a decking victory today, but we did it. Go us. Man, he played 2 most wanteds in a progress day. Still couldn't punch through our board. But, I mean, that does show the problem with our deck, though, right? We don't have the way to close out the game, so I always talk about wanting the big overwhelms, and they're the elusives in the top end. I just don't have it. And here, well, Brightsteel Formation doesn't solve the problems, but it's certainly a big, powerful one. So, never complain about having that one. All right, officially a Shen deck. People, I wonder if these opponents realize how blazing fast our internet is now. Got the blazing fast internet. We got the expensive video cards in here. Still got to watch the purple artifacts. Oh, sweet, the game's gonna crash. There we go. Small indie company. we're back at it. Everything in hand is too expensive. We got to find something cheap here. Ugh, I mean, it's got a unit. Certainly not great.
We were peaceful once.
Lunari.
Is he playing Karma Aphelios? Alright. Let's just slow this down. It's going to take us like way too long to actually get a good challenge attack with that thing. So let's just pass. Or make the trade, right? We're not going to like hook Diana's. Diana doesn't exist here.
Still paint is just
Interesting.
accidental art.
It discards the dust petal. Sure.
I won't stand by.
Okay. Well, this gives us a way to spend all this mana. It feels like we're about to encounter these turns to where we're just like really stacked on spell mana, and so I think this is okay. Like, after we play this Green Fang Warden, we don't have a lot to spend mana on, and so we have to count on these tricks to do something.
Ooh, you're interesting.
Okay. So many values coming out of this guy, though. Discarding the Dust Petal to the Sketcher, getting the Messenger, the Loping Telescope coming in. Values all over the place. At least, like, the ones I'd mainly be worried about, though, would be the more expensive type stuff. If he's picking up big Celestials or something. All right, here comes a riposte.
Stand firm.
you got to spend this mana on something, right? Brutal. Spend our riposte on half of a card. All right. Guess we got at least got a whimsy out of it. Perfect.
The more we learn, the less we fear.
Where there is life, there is hope.
Karma. I mean, I'm gonna just go ahead and go for the detain. Like, having him just sit around and generate spells forever is just gonna be too much of a problem. And they should have trouble getting our Egghead off of the board, right? If they want to play, like, the Targon removal, it tends to just, like, hush. You know, it silences it so he wouldn't be getting the unit back anyways. And then, if it's like a bounce spell, I think that's all okay. Here, how many cards do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can't return the Bass and have it
The forest hides
overdraw, but this is still fine. Like, the back half of this is extremely expensive, so may not get to play that for the rest of the game.
nature defies nature.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna have to Captain Erika one of these turds away. Oh, this is just a brutal hand. Not quite willing to drop her yet. All right, let's see if we can't get a little bit going here. The Viper Worm's a decent target for the Confront. This is okay. Lets us still come in and take down the Tenor of Terror. I'm okay to be like a little bit liberal with our health because we have the Spirit's Refuge in hand, but we're gonna have to watch ourselves. Be a little bit careful. Not big careful, just a little careful. So now we still get to do like the full 3 bank for the turn, and then next turn we can play Captain Erika and have access to 4 mana. Feels pretty safe. Like, we're getting pretty well built on board. So many, so many of these dum-dums. It's like I'm just getting ready with the captain. We're not gonna hit a massive burden.
Turn back.
Looks pretty good to me. Okay. Will of Ionia. A little sad, but our board is definitely improving. Interesting.
Sapphire, gem of our divine patron.
Oh, is that just to prevent the crawling viper worm from hooking the little guy? Sure. Sure, I tell you. there like a reason to do this ever? We get I guess we get like a point of attack out of doing it. We have to risk our unit in the process, but I guess okay. So many twin disciplines. Was that number 3? We've seen 3 of these guys come out of here. Oh my goodness. And he has the deny? Phew, wow. Okay. Okay. Just gotta prevent the damage now. I don't want to risk the egghead, but it's a lot of damage coming through if we don't. Now he's gonna play the 7-drop. Here comes the Empyrean. That's just the way this game's going. Nothing? Aight. Oof. Here come the big boys. The big people, we should say. Lady here in Captain Eureka. Dude, now this is what's scary. I don't like seeing the priestess come down.
Calm mind and open heart.
This is a very real chance we've done all this work and he's gonna be like, herder, here's a 9 mana elusive.
While moonlight reveals.
Okay. Yep. So dumb. This is why as we're in the let's complain about Gnar meta, this is why there was such a heavy let's complain about Targon meta. It's like we're doing so well, right? We got to sit around and trade back and forth, and then we were up on board. Opponent was down to just like the 2 cards in hand, and then he gets to play his invokes to be like herder, it's the scourge. Like okay. I mean, we didn't have to play Captain Eureka there, but you still run into the same problem against a lot of the invokes. Like getting 2 invokes, just with him to be able to be like, okay, well, I got the 9 mana elusive, or the 7/7 overwhelm, or you get the thing that gives all your dudes +2/+2, or if he's like herder, it's a supernova. Like it's essentially no winning that game. He has to roll super low. And so that was that was why if you see the Aurelian Soul archetypes, the changes to the Aurelian Soul archetypes happened at the height of Targon's peak, if you will, and that's a card. Checking on my puns, but those games were ultimately pretty frustrating to where you would either. It's at least not as bad with Bandle City now. You do see some of the chains to where you hit multiple cards in a row, but it most certainly isn't as bad as you could see coming out of Targon, where you would play the 3 mana invoke for a 4, 5, or 6, and then that would hit a Traveler, and then the Traveler would pick up just another big card. And it's like, oh sweet, we'll have to deal with 3 things now out of 1 card. But in my opinion, the difference between the 2 is even with the recent buffs to the Targon cards, the Daybreak and the Nightfall one used to be 1/2s and 2/1s. Now they're both 2/2s. It feels like they're in a fairly safe space to me as to where I don't think the problems with the Invoke deck these days are the Invoke cards. I think it's the lack of interactivity coming out of Targon. But Targon at least has some identity in that sense, as to where when you look at someone like Bandle City, it's not only are the cards reasonably well statted, right? The Loping's Telescope has a 2 power for 2 cost. Conchologist is a 2/2, as to where we're seeing the Targon cards at 3 mana. They produce much less relevant cards coming out of Targon. Like, yes, it's kind of frustrating in that space there to where he generates the big game winner, but It's just cheaper cards are always better, and having the cheaper cards generate cheaper cards is incredibly, incredibly powerful. But nonetheless, back to the action here. Some kind of 3-faction number here. What are we running up against? Ari Kennan with a Poppy in it. Sure. Are you going to get the Battle Green Glade Lookout? Are you going to make your way through? Very real chance he gets to do some striking. But yeah, I mean, with all the talk of Vandal City, I won't do any more complaining about it, but I'm interested to see what comes up in the next patch as we get to see our friend Conchologist at the board in terms of what they're going to do something with Vandal City. And you can't expect a 10% play rate across all of the factions, right? There's 10 factions. We should all see them about 10%. There's always going to be something that's better than the other ones, but I think they'll try and push it a little bit closer in line. I don't know what their full criteria is on buffing and nerfing stuff in terms of, we've heard them talk about decks shouldn't be over a 55% win rate, and I think that sounds pretty reasonable. I don't remember what the play rate was, though. And that's kind of the other one. But it's tough to just be like, let's make this faction good, because it's a game of champions and not a game of factions, and it's very tough to make it like, how do you make Katarina good, right? How do you push Katarina up into the forefront? That's a different question to how do you make Noxus good, right? If you want to make Vandal City good, you have cards like Conchologist be good. It's generic. You can put it in every single Vandal City deck, and you'll be pretty happy with it. But how do you do that to a champion? You either have to make the champion better, or you have to make supporting cards for them. But let's see how this goes. The idea here is we can potentially get the Green Glade Lookout into combat this turn. And if it doesn't happen, then we should still 100% get a good hook with the Protege. But it's kind of looking to the space here. Maybe the Green Glade Lookout finally gets to attack. But I don't think we do a whole lot by making the Windsinger cost 5. But I think we do a lot with opponent really actively playing around the Green Glade Lookout. So it's a reasonable card just to have sitting on the board for a while. Oh, he is going to get an attack. Okay. Boom it, my dude. Okay, I had to double check. This is a play ability, right? The unit. Does he get the copy? Does he get a free spell out of this? It's a play ability from the Conchologist, but this summons units, right? Recall an ally to summon, right?
From lightning and wind, our style is born.
Don't have the greatest of answers to this thing. I guess we'll throw a barrier in front of it. I was hoping for a little bit more. But it is kind of interesting with the Green Fang Warden. It's like we get to make this open, and it's not like we're just being super suspect. And so, if you just play Screeching Dragon here, opponent knows like shenanigans are up, but it's really awkward for them to just pass back to us after this attack. I think this is a good space. This is actually kind of an interesting Windsinger in that if I don't know what they would play for 5 mana. Like say they play the 5/5 tough thing, out of Demacia, since they are playing 3 factions, we could potentially just Windsing it back and have a decent turn that way. But it doesn't look like that's the way it's going. I think we just want to get the Screeching Dragon down. This is happening 100%. He's going to block the Greenglade Lookout. Okay. Starting to make our board big. Interesting, the Screeching is the one that shrunk there. We could technically play a Screeching Dragon this turn and then Golden Aegis. Wow, this is our first Shen draw, right? We haven't drawn Shen this entire trial. Welcome to our hand, my dude. We'll ensure that you get on the board.
All right, team. Adventure time.
The forest hides friend and foe.
Just make the big tempo play here. This is not something I want to deal with. Just go away, Poppy. I'm looking to add the succession this turn, and then we'll play Shen next turn. We only have 7 mana if we do that, though. How important in the gold is the Golden Aegis? It's probably not. We can play this on our opponents next turn. Or I guess we could. What if we play Fleet Feather Tracker plus Shen? So if we play the Fleet Feather Tracker this turn, Shen next turn, then we would have the mana for a Golden Aegis. That seems pretty good. Given that he doesn't have a board, but it's not a lethal is the problem. Okay, let's go for the big damage route. Then we can try and Golden Aegis on his turn. The kind of idea with this is he should have a pretty tough time getting a bunch of stuff on board, and he should have a pretty tough time getting more than 2 units on the board. And so I'm kind of envisioning that we're able to play the Fleet Feather Tracker, we're able to play Shen, and then we can hook everything. But it should, even if it doesn't fully play out like that, since he's got this Conchologist on play now, it's still like a tough place for him to get a lot of things going, right? I don't think we have to really worry about losing our Shen or even our Windsinger this turn, because their units tend to be pretty small as well. But what's he gonna do? Like play Poppy? That sounds shitty. You know, she's tiny. All right, making the big decisions over there. Man, Riot needs to bring me on. I asked the good questions, like how do we make Noxus good? That's where all the good cards should be printed, right? No, nobody wants to play these 25-minute snooze fests. It should just be aggro decks just blasting back and forth into each other. There was always a thing in Magic as to where you would ask yourself the question: is Baneslayer Angel good in this format? And if you're not familiar with it, it's a 5/5 flying lifelink dude. I think it probably has like first strike, and then it has weird shit like protection from demons or something. But if that card was good in a format, then it was probably a healthy format. And I think a lot of that still holds true. I feel like you can ask yourself the same question of something like Siege Rhino. He's a little bit different in that his like mana cost kind of implies a different format, but I think he's pretty similar in that vein of saying, hey, is this good and healthy? What's happening? Is there a lot of creature-based combat happening, or is the format not able to sustain that? And I'm not quite sure what the equivalent would be in Runeterra. It'd probably be something along the lines of like a Radiant Guardian, but doesn't seem like that applies here. I don't know. I'm just trying to think if you like made a 5/5 elusive lifelink for 5 mana, how much of an uproar the community would get in. And it'd probably be pretty big, but there's a lot more answers in Magic to flying units than there are in Runeterra to elusives. Right. Well, let's boom his board. And so with this, I'm putting his worst unit in front of our Screeching Dragon. So if he wants to do like weird shit to protect the cannon, then he's facing down our weaker play. So the idea is if he plays a riposte, then he's going to have to riposte his worst unit to take down our better unit. To where if he wants to say protect cannon, then he's doing battle then with our bad unit. I think they might have dropped their phone in the toilet though. Nope, back at it. Alright, now we're ready for the Golden Aegis. What's it gonna do? Play Poppy and pass? That sounds horrible. Quick quill? I Sure. We're a little short of having lethal on board, but right, assuming he plays a unit, he can block our 4/3. Where does that get us? Like 6, 7, 8, 9? Technically there, but
Wouldn't be a quest without some danger.
this will just elicit the concession. I think it's done. We're gonna win this one. Calling my shot. I feel pretty okay with that in this space. All right, Poppy's boosted.
Follow the dragon.
Ill winds blow.
Like this. Boomed him.
Everything as it should be.
All right, where are them cheap challengers at? Got something here? Young Witch is good, but not exactly what we were looking for. I was hoping to trade away one of these expensives for something like Young Witch, but I think she's definitely an upgrade over the Lookout. Off we go. Single combat. Single combat would be okay here, but it's not where our deck is really hurting. I'm not trying to pick up more spells. It does give us a little bit of interactivity, which would be nice, but it's awkward in that we have a lot of low health units. One of my favorite ones. Gangplank likes to eat his oranges after he's first dipped them in the ocean. Sweet and salty, he calls them. Fucking gross. That can't be healthy. Can't be healthy. I think the amount of like seawater you can drink is like fairly high. I mean, I don't know. It's not like you drink a cup of seawater and you die, but it's probably like a liter or something. Is it even that high? I don't know. Hang on. This is important. Here you go. How much seawater can you drink? God, we got to click all the way into the article. Just fucking tell me right at the top. Come on, Google. News about it. Man, this is why people don't Bing it. Alright, are we in a game yet? Here, seawater. Is it in this Wikipedia thing? You can drink up to 2 cups a day mixed with fresh water into a 2 to 3 ratio. Man, that's certainly less than I expected. That's not 2 cups in a liter, and so you you European folks probably know those mathematics. Let me start talking about gallons. I'm fully ready to come in and embrace the metric system, but some of you fucks out there still use weight measurements like stone. Nobody knows what that is, and so you can't blame it all on us. I think that's the fine folks in the UK or England or however that works, weighing things in stone.
To serve the greater good.
But all right, let's boom this Riven. This is actually the one time this draft where we talked about this thing, and we have the quick attack for the scales of the dragon. If he's just swinging in with Riven, this is gonna be poor. But the collection of tricks they could have is pretty low. This is gonna be nice.
I'm cold, I'm hungry, and there's rocks in me boots.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Would like to see them spend a little bit of mana, but we're gonna confront Riven with this quick attack challenge in our scales. I don't know. I'm trying to read into if it was like they had a whirling death and didn't want to do it, or like why he thought about attacking last turn and called it back. Maybe he has like the thing that would be bad here is if he has the double +1/+2. Which looks like what we're about to face down. Like he didn't want to spend the whole card. Whirling death. Okay, that would make sense. And he'll be Riven sworded this turn. We have the deny if we feel like we need to counterspell the sword. Probably have to if he just goes all in on it right now.
I need just a moment.
I sense their power.
He just quits with the quick attack challenge on a young witch. I think this is okay, but yeah, he's going for it. So it's not particularly ideal.
Even shattered hearts mend in time.
Right, because I mean it prevents like 4 damage off this Riven. But like, what else are we gonna do? Yeah, we're getting so boomed this turn. This feels horrible. It should just kill the Riven when you do that. That's what would make this fair.
Face me.
So we get hit for 10 or 10, yeah. Ugh. All right. And the Screeching Dragon can't even kill anything. Brutal.
2 steps ahead.
So I'm gonna try and bury your challenge down the Glory Seeker, and then maybe next turn we run into something to where we run into something to where we get a good Wind Singer. Doesn't that kind of like felt like we were about to run into another Whirling Death. It doesn't seem super appealing.
Hope is on the wing.
All right, well, not as good as I hoped, but takes a little bit of the tempo out of them. They can just replay the Trifarian, but keeps them from having 2 units on the board this turn.
I'll cut them apart.
Rip Fiora.
You're mine.
Oh, yeah, that's much better.
Is this supposed to be a challenge?
All right, so let's see if we can't hook this Trifarian down again next turn. Still pretty awkward in the blocks we're able to make, and it still feels like he has a Whirling Death he's ready to drop on us, but it's okay. Brother spawned. Almost dead.
I'm cold, I'm hungry, and there's rocks in me boots.
I'm sorry, who are you?
What we got? Shen? Guess we can like play Shen and then put a dragon protection on him and then get a barrier challenge, but opponent has 8 mana to put more units on the board with. Oh, Darius. Okay. There's just too much ribbon stuff coming at us. That Whirling Death was pretty powerful. Oh, right. Well, what are we getting out of these? Still no upgrades into the cheap units. This has been pretty painful. I think I'd rather have the Redeemer than the Scales. Like we just don't have the combos to go with this, right? Just the 2 Shens and the 1 Young Witch. We're not going to like consistently have this guy going. Don't want Jewel Protector. Don't want War Chefs. Okay. Ooh, it's tough. Okay, some Gnar and Ezreal. This hand's way too expensive. The old Lightbringer. You wonder, like these people that, if this is like a Game of Thrones reference, I know like Lightbringer is a real, just general fantasy kind of term, but you have the Game of Thrones out there. You're like, wow, I really love this show. I'm going to name my child after a Game of Thrones character, and and then like the season 7 and the season 8 happens. Gotta be brutal. All right, the Lightbringer did see our primer on how to manage the Sumpworks posse. You want to leave it out of these spaces to where your opponent has chances to interact with it. This is fine. You know, we're just gonna drop our protege and try and get a hook. We're not in any kind of race with these things. I'm on board with how that turn went down. No, I mean, we're going to struggle if he's like, here's a iterative improvement with another posse, but we can get this guy out of here. That's strong. Ooh, and he discarded a Death Ray? I mean, it's not unreasonable to think he's going to have another spell in hand, but I like seeing the Death Ray go away. Oh, another Death Ray. But the important thing happened. We got the Sumpworks posse off of the board. It's going to take us quite a bit of work to get another one down. Effective swap bot is gone as well. Okay. Okay. Well, we can throw a Screeching Dragon in front of Gnar. It should be pretty tough. I mean, if he just immediately redrew his... we can't risk it. Like, we're going to take the damage anyways, but if he just, like, immediately redo his Death Ray, then we just lose the game, right? So we're basically saying, okay, we just lose the game a third of the time, right? Just immediately, no questions asked. I don't think we're in the space to where we can quite risk it that hard. To whereas if he Death Rays here, we at least get the trade. We would have been saying it, just immediately lose the game. Alright, so he gets the Pokey Stick in hand, Gnar gets to flip. We do have some answers to this though, right? We have the Windsinger in hand, we have the Concerted Strike. We can do some stuff here. Kind of leaning towards the Windsinger. It's just a matter of next turn, do we have enough time to get going with the Badger Bear? We probably don't. Would we rather just add Quinn? Kind of guarantees we get up to 5. Well, he's got Pokey Stick in hand.
The forest hides friend and foe alike.
Alright, just need a bit of time. We can take a Gnar hit and not be, like, ridiculously upset about it. But we would preferably just get the killing. I'm just kind of like looking at Captain Eureka now as an additional way to deal with this dum-dum. Working real hard on this. He should cost like 8 mana in Mega Gnar form. Getting to replay this at 4 mana feels kind of absurd. Awesome. Awesome.
Turn back.
Okay, so this has a lot of potential to go wrong, but I think if we can take the posse down this turn, and then get Captain Eureka onto Gnar next turn, we might have something going for ourselves. But the Sumpworks posse is what is ultimately more frightening to me than the Gnar. He has the 3 damage death rate. God damn it. I think if he had it, he would have spewed it off, right? It's pretty tough. I mean, we have the Memory Cloak in hand, but we have to be getting like some kind of board presence. Maybe just disconnected. That's what we. That's how you get the victories. No, just saving it right for the end. Can I target that? Memory Cloak. Why? Pick an ally. Oh, okay, didn't do it this way. I don't play dumb cards like this too frequently. Okay. So Gnar takes us to 9. Get to drop Captain Eureka. And then he just has 2 cards left. Might be able to turn the corner here. Do we ever want to just say, like, play Horns of the Dragon? And then save Captain Eureka for next turn? It's kind of tempting. It lets us bank up some mana as well. It's like... The only way that this is problematic is if he has, like, a mini-morph. That should be pretty tough to have. I don't remember if mini-morph is in Big Mad. You can, of course, have it. It turns up along the way, but... I think this is good. Like, the Gnar is not super scary against the board we have down now. Like, he's going to get the flip. If he sits here and, like, invests in the Gnar, I feel like we can take it down in the future and be okay. Sure. Wouldn't be surprised if he just takes the 8 here. He's not like too worried about dying, and if, you know, we're gonna get wider than him. Oh, that's big. That's big. Really surprised that happened. It's like, what's your angle for winning the game here? Interesting.
The world's a big place. Let's see all of it.
Really want to be able to riposte this turn. It's like we can I want to play the Captain Eureka on Ezreal, but I think we can, like, just soak that for a turn. That's going to be enough to take us to 6. What if we just pass? I mean, it's got to be obvious that we're up to shenanigans if we just pass. But I mean, if he just sends it back to us without attacking or playing cards, I'm pretty sure that's a gigantic win. And now we can maybe Eureka Ezreal next turn. Maybe not. All right, let's see. Let's see how big this goes. See, he's got some more spells for us. He needs a 3 damage to take down the horns now. It's okay if he gets it like post combat with a bunch of Ezreal stuff, but got it here where it mattered. And see, this is why that block last turn was weird to me. He could have gotten in for an extra 3 damage. And then this Mystic Shot would have us... Wow. It's all about trying to kill these little units. Sure. We gotta get Ezreal off the board though. He's gonna start doing his flip targeting, and it's gonna be problematic.
One heart can shape the fate of a nation.
Pretty scary place to be. The 6 health is no joke. We need to pick up the barrier lifesteal. Gross.
Take back what is ours.
That's gross. I don't know about this one anymore.
Time for a true display of skill.
It's frustrating. It feels like it feels like I don't know. Sure. There's like a concept in Magic as to where your opponent's just giving you turns, and you shouldn't be like really upset about it. We're just dead. He attacks with Ezreal and Mystic Shots us. You shouldn't like be upset about it when your opponent doesn't make the optimal plays and gives you extra turns to win the game. Like there's to a degree where it's like useful and a degree where it's not, right? If you're just trying to play test and get better, then it's kind of abysmal when your opponent makes less than optimal plays all the time. And that's just like what your playtest partners are. But if you're in like a tournament situation and your goal isn't to just get better, your goal is to win the tournament, then seeing things like that, it's ultimately frustrating when you pinpoint a horrible strategy and it's still successful against you. But in that game, I feel like we were given like 3 extra turns, right? I feel like that block with the Bitsy thing onto our Horns of the Dragon was very beneficial for us because where he's at no risk to dying to the Horns of the Dragon. He's going to be wider than us the next turn. He should be able to chunk in the extra damage with that 3/4, and as you could have seen there, probably just ended the game before we got an extra attack. And so it was like we were getting extra shots at picking up our lifesteal cards. We're getting extra shots at relevant cards in the matchup. And it just kind of is what it is. So it's frustrating to have it happen, but in a tournament situation, it's a bad viewpoint to take, and so you just got to be like, well, he gave me extra turns and I couldn't take advantage of it. Let's move on. If you are playing against the best player in the world, they wouldn't do that to you, and you wouldn't even have a shot. So. At any rate, it kind of is what it is in terms of the Shen deck. The pick that I feel like was the worst one for us in terms of that draft was we did have that one pack that had the Challenger Bird and the Quinn Bird in it, and we didn't take it, and then that just punished us throughout the entirety of the event. With this style of deck, you're really looking to take advantage of Brightsteel Protectors, and then do that early with your challengers. And so ideally, you're going to have what looks like a Fiora deck where you have Challenger Birds, Quinn Birds, Petricite Broadwings, Lauren Proteges, maybe one confront, maybe 2 confronts, and then you're just going to get a bunch of barrier challenges in early, and then build up your board. And then the way that you kind of close out the games is you've got an overwhelming board, and then that's where Shen can come in and get to work and protecting your units and letting them grow at the same time. And so I think we struggled on multiple ends. We got too much of the top end in here. We didn't get enough of the early game, and then the thing with the 4 attack units is what the Shen half of this deck is kind of meant to do, but none of that showed up whatsoever. We didn't see a tasty Feyfolk to the best of my knowledge. We probably saw a bunch of like the dragon card, but he's not super appealing when you don't have the young witches to go along with it. But that's typically what we see with Shen. I wasn't really expecting a 7 winner out of him, and especially in one where the deck didn't really come together that well. My big disappointment with the draft was, this was our last hurrah with Shen. Right, we've got 5 expeditions, maybe 6 expeditions after this, and we're done. And so we're never going to draft Shen again. It was a little unfortunate to not do something cool with him in our last opportunity, but is what it is, as they say. That's all we got for that. And so let's call it a day. Let's click on the reward here, see what turns up. We had our 7 winner anyways because we won the previous one. Just a big old bunch of shards. Looks good to me. And so that will do it for us today. Hope you all enjoyed the trial. You learned how to put up your barrier a little bit better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.